Hey there guys, and welcome to the new arrival today, where the story begins right from the bloody day, when King Gray himself was cutting down his enemies. He took the position of the king, killed everyone who tried to get in his way in cold blood, and by doing so, he had taken the throne, and those who stood in his way died in a complete annihilation. That's the sin a king had to commit in order to keep his reign, but somehow King Gray wasn't content with this life at all, and that's when, in hopes of seeking the light, he opened his eyes in front of a couple. Gray was confused by the change, and the man in front called him Arthur and claimed he's the dad, and the one holding him is her mom. Both of them were his parents in this life, which means that Gray died back in his own world and was reborn into this world, and that's how the story of King Gray started once again after the end. Back in the days, King Gray was a figure of power, and now he's nothing but an infant. Both of his parents were hyped for their child, but Arthur, not so much, and why would he? His body is just so out of his damn control that he took Ray's finger by reflex, and the most annoying thing is that he poops without even realizing. Well, that's the side effects of being a kid. And it was such a disaster, but after a few days, he witnessed the power that dwells in this world. Ray and Alice both had powers that were unknown to Arthur. Ray was a physical-type power user, whereas Alice was a healer. Ray could kill monsters with that monstrous power of his. And that's why Arthur wants to learn things about this world as soon as he could. Ray's bloody-filled hands says it all about what kind of danger lies outside. But then again, Alice started to put the little Arthur to sleep, and he blacks out in peace, unlike his previous life, where a peaceful sleep was a luxury since he was a king. But here, he could sleep out without worries in the embrace of his parents. Then soon after, Arthur regained control of his limbs and saw himself in the mirror. It was a precious sight for his parents to watch because he looked cute, but Arthur was watching his new self. His new life was filled with the warmth of the family, and as he pretended to sleep, Alice went out to do housework. Arthur took this opportunity to sneak into the study room to gather information. Knowledge is a weapon, that's for sure, and from one of the books he took, Arthur discovers that the continent is divided into 3 kingdoms. A dwarf kingdom, then the Eleanor Kingdom of Elves located in deep mountains, and Sapin Kingdom with the majority of humans in the kingdom. It's ruled by a monarch, but the throne is inherited, whereas in his previous world the monarch had to seize the throne. And when it comes to technology, this world is still developing, but it has magic which a person uses to enhance their bodies or cast spells. And 1 out of every 100 people in this world is a mana user, but there are 2 types of mana users, an augmenter and a conjurer. An augmenter uses mana to gain physical powers, whereas a conjurer uses mana to cast out a spell. But people like his mother are always an exception, and people learn how to use it when puberty kicks in their late teens. All they have to do is form a mana core inside of them and master it. The concept was similar to his old world where he had to form a core and control the ki. So Arthur decided to give it a try, but Alice came in and interrupted the guy just as he was about to form his core. For once it seems like she noticed something, but actually she noticed Arthur had pooped. Poor Arthur cursed his infant body again because it does things without him knowing it. And after that, Alice was recording things about Arthur in her diary, but she was concerned her kid had never smiled even once. And right outside Daddy is already teaching swordsmanship to little Arthur that Alice got ticked because it's too soon for the kid to even hold a stick to start practicing swordsmanship. Lady Alice had full power in the house, and whenever she takes Arthur to the market, he brightens up because this is the place where he could understand and get info about this world, like their tech and things like Mana Stone, but mostly he gets to observe the magic in person. It was fascinating. But soon, Arthur fell asleep without any worries because he knew his parents would look after his every need. It was rather opposite from his previous life. Arthur was left in front of an orphanage, and that's where he grew up, without knowing the warmth of a mother or father. But here, Alice adored her child. And every little thing Arthur does, and judging his enthusiasm about seeing the world, that resembles Ray so much that Alice knew Arthur would also want to see the world too. But a mother always wants her child to have a peaceful life. Then after a while, Ray did so much nonsense for a while just to lift up a few pebbles. But Alice tells Arthur that Ray is capable of doing more, and there Ray showed it by using his augmented powers. Seeing that Arthur knew, he had to hurry up. But Mama Alice was taking him back to the room for a nap. She said a clear-cut no when Arthur wanted to read the books again. So Arthur did the puppy dog eye torture, and Alice tried to resist it. But the unfair torture worked out, and she let Arthur read the book for a while. From it, he followed the instructions to form his mana core, and just as Alice went out to give tea to Ray, Arthur formed his mana core and caused a huge blast. He literally blew up the house, and Ray saves Alice from the blast. Then both of them rushed inside, worried sick about Arthur. But the scene they saw made them fall into complete shock, because it was Arthur who caused it all while forming his mana core. Arthur was successful, but the rubbles were about to fall onto him. And Alice and Ray both threw themselves in to save their child. That's the parents' love Arthur had never known. And Alice cried out that Arthur was okay. And seeing that love, even the cold-blooded king asks himself, why are they crying? And soon realizes that it's the unconditional love they had for him. It was a first time for him getting love. So Arthur also cried out. And right there our episode 1 came to an end, but stay tuned to watch the next episode, and for that subscribe the channel, and hit the bell icon to get the latest updates. Till then, take care.